for a mature audience. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Comedy Emulator.
Brandie Posey of San Andreas.
I tore my
the
shirt.
movie film. Wow.
This is the second flannel that I've hulked out on during comedy. I have a little tear right there. Don't say I don't suffer for my craft, people.
You know, we're just emulating comedy tonight. You should give 80%, not the whole shirt.
Damn, well, can we rewind this and then green screen a patch onto this so I don't look homeless when I go home?
Can we see through Brandie with that? Can you...
Just into the future is my armpit. Like that's where it is. That's where we'll keep it. I don't know.
Good. We've cracked this crowd. Excellent. Hello, Internet. I'm Brock Wilbur. This is Brandie Posey. This is
Hi.
Comedy Emulator. Our co-host Joe Starr isn't here tonight because he's celebrating an 11-year anniversary with a very patient wife.
Yeah. Give their love a round of applause, right? 11 years is a long time.
Applause for love and successful relationships.
Speaking of successful relationships, I'm really glad that
What is the transition here?
I said, I'm glad that we're still doing the show together because I texted Joe and Brock earlier this week and I was like, Comedy Emulator sounds like love in an elevator. And I just wanted to put that in your brain forever. Comedy Emulator!
It's my mom's favorite Aerosmith song. I hate knowing that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, Mom, that I revealed your favorite sex Aerosmith song. That's my bad.
Sex Aerosmith song. Those are two very different categories in my house. In the house of Posey.
What category does Pink fall into? Is it really just about a color, or is that...
Pink is...
about lady things.
Oh, man. Pink is a song that Aerosmith stops after Armageddon for me. You know what I mean? Like, they did Don't Want to Miss a Thing, and that was them going out on top, and anything past that just doesn't exist. That's just like the sad shakings of a man that should have stopped and just enjoyed his retirement.
At O'Hare Airport, they have a 9 Lives pinball machine for that album that I don't think Aerosmith remembers recording.
The pinball machine for that?
Pinball machine just for that album, and it's always set to just free play. Like, you don't have to put... People know that they're not going to give a quarter to that.
It's a trap.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
Play it every time.
Oh, God.
I'm real bad at traps. Speaking of successful relationships...
Let's hear this segue.
Today, I finally blocked every person that I've ever been in a relationship with on all forms of social media. Yeah.
That's impressive.
And already I can tell that the things I'm posting have much less of a so fuck you like undertone to them. Like not everything I post is revenge based anymore, which is nice. I've grown as a person today.
Really glad you finally cut off that bitch from first grade. You know what I mean?
Sorry, Claire Miller.
I'm a woman, I can say that.
Everyone be cool. Don't Facebook Claire.
You just said her name out into the internet. What if she's watching? This is the only way that she can still see what you're doing, so she's watching this. She's like, Brock is on Comedy Emulator tonight.
Look at how well I'm doing. Her shirt is torn.
It's right there.
I can't wait till we get that green patch in there and it's just like full of puppies on the inside. Or...
It's just like you can just see the universe inside of this hair, and then the universe then just expands and it becomes the end of Men in Black 1, where it's a bunch of marbles in a bag. And then I'm Tommy Lee Jones. This whole time I've been Tommy Lee Jones. What if?
I'm so sorry about so many things that I've said in the privacy of your car over the years.
I was born old. Do you think Tommy Lee Jones was ever a baby? You know, like, that face on a baby? Why did anybody burn it?
Welcome to our favorite show to play, game to play. Why don't we burn the baby? It's
Burn the baby. That's with Brandie and Brock. Come on, a lot of bees. Marketing. # branding. feel good about what we've done.
Marketing. I just like snapping and saying marketing. I did believe it for like an extra second.
Yeah, exactly. Speak with authority. That's all you actually have to do to get people to believe you. That's how you run a cult.
Thank you, strangers that have come to the DromeBox tonight to watch a comedy show. Hello, internet followers. Mm-hmm. Call them followers. They like that.
Find me on PayPal at...
Can you follow people on PayPal?
I wish, right? I should have followers on PayPal. Like, I mean, it doesn't mean you have to send me money.
Can you block people on PayPal? I don't want that.
I don't want to block anybody. If they want to send me money, I'll take it, though. My worst enemy could send me money, and I would still cash it.
I should send Claire Miller some money, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's basically what I'm saying. Claire Miller, I'm sorry, and you will be getting some money from Brock Wilbur, because I have his PayPal right here. PayPal's a person. It's a person that comes out.
Just Alan Strickland Williams.
Yeah.
Good. That's for us.
What's up? It's a guy in a blazer. That's Alan. You guys don't know who Alan is.
Who wants to see some comedy?
Yes. Before it descends into madness. Yes.
That's never worked before.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Comedy Emulator. It's not just us for an hour, you guys. I know you want that. We have 2 fantastic comics, and then I'm coming back up later. I was going to say
that
3.
That thing you just threatened them with?
I was going to say 3 fantastic comics, and I was like, it would be weird if I came up and like counted myself as one of those comics.
Me, I was one.
I was one of them. The first guy coming to the stage, he's a salty dog from Chicago, Illinois. You guys are going to love him. The Scruff McGruff of Los Angeles, Brandie Mcgowan!
Yeah! Great. Bye. Bye. Hello. Hi. Hello. My name is Brendan Mcgowan, like Brandie said. A little bit about me. I am from Chicago, as was mentioned, and I like to introduce myself with a story, just to let everyone know who I am. At the beginning, when I lived in Chicago, I drove a bus during the day and did comedy at night, and a coworker at my bus driving job defined who I am for me in a sentence. His name was Don, and one day before we drove a bus together for 8 hours, he said, "Just so you know, you're an asshole who don't know shit but being a fuckface dick nose." And that's just like who I pulled my hamstring today trying to learn a new pitch in wiffle ball alone. That's something I did earlier. I once overdrafted my bank account at a Dunkin' Donuts. I once overdrafted my bank account also at a Home Depot. I was buying X-Acto knives so I could carve the word Widowmaker into my Xbox 360 controller. That's what I've done with my 20s and my money. I'm stupid. Just a big dumb shit dummy. But that being said, just laying that groundwork down, I wanted to talk about the economy and how it still seems to be pretty bad. And I blame rich people. You might think that's safe. I'll explain. Rich people of late have broken the social contract of spending their money like crazy assholes on insane projects that are made to happen by poor people. A rich person once walked outside of their house and said, "Hey, this place is great. You know what this lawn could use is a river." And then moats happened, and people were paid money to dig moats and raise their family on that moat money. That used to happen. And if you Google eccentric rich people now, the most recent news item was Richard Branson paying $2 million for a cameo in the second Spider-Man movie because they needed help with their budget. Apparently, that doesn't create jobs. Sarah Winchester, one of my heroes. Her husband invented the Winchester rifle. Then he died. She was young. She inherited all of his money. And she was crazy and thought that every person killed with a Winchester rifle, the ghost of that person was chasing her around the house during the daytime trying to get revenge. She didn't move out of the house. She didn't torch it for insurance.
She stayed there, and she paid contractors to live in tents on her yard, and every now and again she'd walk out of the house and say, "The ghouls are getting closer. Build another room onto this house." That's like staircases that go nowhere, doors that open to brick walls just so she could escape ghasts and ghouls. That's crazy. But the dudes who lived in tents in her yard raised their family with that money. They pioneered the West with her crazy ghost house money, is what I'm saying. Will you invent a goddamn lightsaber already? You rich bastards. 1%. This money is wasted on you because you won't waste it. Bill Gates, just landscape a chessboard in your yard and pay people to pretend to be chess pieces for 8 hours a day. Just create jobs. Be job creators. Francis Egerton, the 8th Earl of Bridgewater, inherited the largest inheritance in the history of England at the time, died penniless, died broke, and he spent all of his money throwing tea parties for dogs. That's how you do that shit, rich people. That's how you just pay someone to make a crumpet for a dog. Clothing was stitched for... Someone had to write, "Please bring more dogs," and tie it to a pigeon and then fly it somewhere. That was a job once. Michael Jackson will be remembered by a lot of people as a lot of different things. I will always remember Michael Jackson as the last rich person that knew how to be fucking rich. Because he once said out loud to an Earth human, "How much for the bones of the Elephant Man?" "Is it this many?" And then just sparklers flew out of his wrist. All you could smell was Christmas, and then the dot-com boom started. He knew what he was doing. So that's the end of that. That's the end of my economy thoughts. No, maybe not. I had a dream. You ever have you're a weird day where you just a lot of NyQuil at 3 p.m. just to see what happens? I did that. And I had a dream in which I fell asleep listening to NPR, having taken a bunch of NyQuil, had a dream. The dream was everyone on NPR was saying we've got to end our dependence on foreign oil and create new jobs in this country, but I don't know what we can use as an energy source because we don't make, the only things we make now are debt, self-entitled children, and meth. Wait a minute, let's make a car that runs on meth. That's how we do it. Then I had a dream where I went into a car dealership and there was a car that ran on meth. And it was a Ford dealership. I don't know why the specificity in the dream, but it did walk in there. The salesman, he walks up to me and he's been riding around in this car breathing meth exhaust all day. So I'm just like, "Hey, I was looking at the Ford Focus," and he says, "Are you here to fucking fight?" I don't know. Only thing that's mattered since we painted on caves. Fuck or fight. I just wanted to buy a car. Come with me. Takes me over to this steel demon that every metal band wishes was their album art. You know what I mean? Just like blades for hubcaps and smoke coming out of the exhaust. Airbrush mural on the hood, and it was Mount Rushmore. Except they're all holding up middle fingers, and Teddy Roosevelt is going double guns, and it says, "Fuck 'em that ain't with it." I said, "What is this?" He said, "That's the new 2015 Ford Tweaker." And I said, "Tell me about it. Does it play MP3s? He says, "No, asshole. It plays one song the entire time it's running, Through the Fire and the Flames by Dragon Force." "What kind of miles per gallon does it get?" "Oh, you do not put gasoline in this car. What you do is you throw in a handful of Claritin One-A-Days. And this son of a bitch is going to run for the next 72 hours straight like a Japanese bullet train that was built by and for the devil." So in the dream, I bought it, and that's the new dream. That's the new American dream, meth cars. That's what I think. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. There's a video game theme to the show. I'll talk about video games. I play video games, and I do it the wrong way, where I'm probably going to die with a lot of regrets, I guess is the best way to describe it. I was once fired in Madden NFL 2005 because of how poorly I did as the general manager of the Chicago Bears. I was called into a video game office and I was video game fired. Did I turn off the game and go outside, just get a walk in, see a sunrise, call an old friend? No. Turned it back on and I lowered the difficulty. Like, that's where I'm at with video. I like them a lot. I like them too much. But there's a new thing where they're trying to add these very intense plots to video games, and they're using history quite often. And I'm a big history buff. And I played a video game, I don't know if you've played it, Call of Duty Black Ops. Okay, one fan. I didn't know the premise of the game when I bought it. I just took it home because it had a gun on the cover, and I put it in the fun box, and then it started. The premise of the game is it takes place during the Cold War, and every level is a terrible thing the government did during the Cold War. The first level is just you're in Cuba, and you're part of the Bay of Pigs invasion. Just like level 1. And we're not like talking about height of Castro, obviously. It's like day 2. Bautista just fell. So the whole first level of the game is you shooting farmers in the face. It's a lot to lay on somebody who just gave you $60 because they wanted to have fun. So level 1 is Bay of Pigs. Level 2, Quezon. Level 3, more terrible. So it just keeps getting more and more intense. And then the story of the game is your character is kidnapped by Russians. As we all know, they're evil because the game tells us so. They kidnap you, they brainwash you, then they release you back into the U.S. And your main character of the game, at the end of the game, he's choking to death the top Russian that brainwashed. And you have to hit a complex series of buttons because choking a man is not easy. You're choking him. Right before he dies, he looks at the camera, and I'm expanding a bit, but this is what he said, essentially. By the way, you were the second gunman on the grassy knoll, and you shot JFK. Credits. Yeah. What is an appropriate response? My roommate at the time had an inappropriate response, which was he had a bookshelf of just books about Camelot and the Kennedy White House. Real into it. Video game had just told him he killed JFK. He stood up, opened the tray of the game machine, took the disc out, snapped it in half, and said, I need to go for a walk. I didn't see him for 2 days because he went to his girlfriend's place and stayed there. Yeah, they tell you that you killed JFK. That's, fuck you, man. Give me a choice, make that Dallas level. Because then I wouldn't shoot JFK. You can't, I would move the scope to the right and shoot McNamara, but like, that's my thing. That's me. So then you beat the game and then like, because I beat it and then I wanted to see my roommate's face. It was probably the worst thing I've ever done to that guy, but he's not watching, who cares? Like I knew they were going to tell him that he shot JFK. But like you beat the game, it tells you that you shot JFK and then the credits end and then there's this whole like black and white cut scene where it's a conversation in the Situation Room of the Pentagon and it's between JFK, Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara, Prime Minister Fidel Castro for some reason, and Richard Nixon is the fourth one there. They're talking. Who breaks in but a zombie? And that's when it becomes the greatest video game I've ever played in my life because I got to live a leftist dream, which is put the controller down, do nothing, and watch a zombie eat Richard Nixon. That should have been the game from the beginning. Just presidents having to fight off people they screwed over. You know, just Hoover in a bar during the Depression saying the business of America is business, and then a Steinbeck novel comes through the window and a character walks out of it and punches him in the face. Like, that's a fun, that should be a video game. I don't know. They made a sequel that involved Noriega, so I'm assuming that there's a whole level where you're just setting up the monitors for the Metallica album that got him to give up and be arrested. How is that fun? Like, newest tough guy video game, Grenada. It was 8 minutes. I don't know. Anyway, I always found that weird. So I talked about video games. I felt like that was important to discuss. I'm going back home to Chicago pretty soon. I'm going to be visiting family and friends, and I'm excited, but I'm also nervous because my girlfriend's coming with me, and she's met my parents before, but you never feel safe with your parents, or at least I don't, and them being around people you want to keep in your life. Like, it's scary, and I guess the best way to describe it, my parents, the last time I was around them, my parents will argue about something small, and they will argue in a way that is terrifying. Like the big stuff, no, my sister was missing. We couldn't get her on the phone for 2 weeks, and then we got a call from the sheriff in the county where she was in college at the time, and he said, your car's been abandoned for 2 months, and we said, oh, shit. My parents didn't yell at each other. A phone bill is 10 cents over what they think it should be. They're about to get a divorce. They're that couple, like that's what they need to keep things going. That's fine. But I don't want people I care about to see it. But I guess a story to describe it. The last time I visited my parents, my dad bought 4 steaks, and he bought them at a Costco. He bought them for my dad, my mom, my sister, and I to have a family dinner. And these are like, fuck you, we're America, we're going to live forever steaks, you know, like hubcap sized, just preposterous. So he buys them on a Thursday. My sister gets held up at work, and then she texts and says, hey, I can't make it. We said, cool, rain check. We're going to have these steaks tomorrow. We're going to have them Friday. My mom decided if these steaks were left in the refrigerator for under 24 hours, they would go bad. So she put them in the freezer Thursday night, took them out of the freezer and put them back in the fridge Friday morning because she read an online article about meat, and she's also goddamn fucking insane. So I get home Friday afternoon, steak day. I walk into my parents' place. My dad, I walk into his room. He is fully reclined in a lazy boy chair. He's wearing an undershirt, pajama pants, drinking a bottle of wine by himself, watching Sports Center, not even 4 o'clock. He's living the fucking dream. He says, Brendan, start cooking those steaks. I said, good deal. Go to the fridge. I open the fridge, reach in, and the steaks are still frozen. We're at DEFCON 1. Close the door to the fridge, meekly begin walking back into my dad's room to tell him that dinner's frozen, and my mom stopped me on the way. She says, what's wrong? I said, Mom, those steaks are still frozen. And she said, no. Because we both know what is about to happen. I go into my dad's room, and I say, Dad, the steaks are frozen. He snaps upright in the lazy boy chair as he yells, what? But he doesn't, well, like one of these, he goes, I don't know if you've seen this, but he goes, what? Dad, the steaks are frozen. Who in the fuck froze the steaks? Dad, I don't know. You don't know shit. Bring them in here. Like, he accused me of not knowing what frozen means. I had to go back to the fridge. I open the fridge. I get the frozen meat that's in Ziploc bags out. I carry them through the house to his room. He takes the frozen meat in his hands and then goes back into a full recline in the lazy boy chair, holding frozen meat to the ceiling. He yells at the heavens, frozen! As if his dad rage has some property and power that will defrost the steaks while he's holding them, you know? Gets out of the chair, hands me the frozen meat as we walk into the room that my mom is in. My dad looks at my mom and says, Barbara, stop it. It's been over 30 years of freezing meat like a maniac. Just stop it. And he hands me the steaks. He hands me the steaks and he says, Brendan, run these under hot water, defrost them, and cook them. My mom chimed in, bad move on her part, but she chimes in and she says, isn't that going to make them taste bad? And my dad leaned in. He got this far away from his wife's face And he said, "Oh, I hope they taste like shit. And I hope yours is the fucking worst." So we walked out of the room at that point, because that's a strong exit. You can't, like, there's no more conversation to be had. And then we sit down to dinner like an hour later, steaks on the table. Everyone, my mom, my sister and I, we're cutting steak, we're eating. No one's talking. It's real uncomfortable in there. My dad walks in last. Two things, smile on his face like he is going to sell one of us a used car before this meal is over. 2, he has visibly spilt an entire glass of wine on his shirt at some point. He walks in, sits down, cuts the steak, bites it, looks around the table. "You know what, guys? This is really great. We should have these family dinners more often." He forgot. He completely forgot. So then no one says a word, and he's like, he reads the room and he does that slow dad realization face of, "Oh, they're mad at me. Why are they mad at me? Oh, that's why they're mad at me. I should explain why they have no goddamn right to be mad at me." Picks up his plate and he walks around the dining room table 3 times like he said Macbeth in a theater. And he yells a list of everything he has paid for in the last 30 years, which is why it's cool. He went shithouse crazy about meat. Just schools, books, batteries. I think we fucking eat batteries in this house. So it just goes on and on. This plate, and my mom says, "That was a wedding gift." And he said, "Who do you think paid for the wedding, Barbara?" You 3 better be real proud of yourselves, because you have ruined this family dinner. I am now going to go back to my room, and I'm going to watch women's lacrosse by myself, because I cannot change the station on the television because there are no batteries in the fucking remote. So I don't know if I want to bring my girlfriend into that kind of environment, is what I'm saying. Thanks very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Brendan Mcgowan, ladies and gentlemen, keep it going. That story always makes me feel bad about the time I borrowed a single battery from Brendan's family's house. So that's my recent worst all-time bad video game moment came on the new video game systems like the Xbox One and stuff. They've realized that people don't want to play online video games because everyone wants to leave the time that middle schoolers could call them a fag back in middle school. Like, no one wants to bring that into adulthood. So they do a thing now where they just surprise you. That surprise, you're now playing against people online and you didn't know that that's what you were doing. And I was playing a game called Watch Dogs, which is set in the city of Chicago, and everyone's just as angry as Brendan and his family. And at one point, there was a little street race, just my car and some other cars, and then I could hear a child's voice, and I was like, "Oh, I'm now online and playing against a kid somewhere. I win the race because kids are fucking dumb." And then the kid starts crying. I was like, "Oh no, I made a child cry. This is weird. I don't want to," like, the race is done, but still his voice is there and there's nothing I can do to make it go away. And that's when the child stops crying and says, "Why, Dad?" And what I come to understand is that he was actually watching his father play the game and got so sad that his dad lost the race that he started crying. And then he says to his dad, which I can hear all of this, "Why didn't you win? Why didn't you win the race, Dad?" And the father goes, "You don't win them all, son." And then he started crying too. So just both of them are like sobbing, like, "I'm sorry, son." Like, I don't know if the plant closed that day or their mom just left, but like, I'm now also like that kid's example of like the existence of evil in the world. And there's nothing, I'm driving my car across the city of Chicago into the fucking lake. I can still hear this family crying. And I just ran over and didn't just unplug my Xbox from the wall, but every electronic device in the apartment, and went to a park for the first time in 3 years. Which I don't think, if you've ever accidentally made a family dissolve, it's not an overreaction. Coming up to the stage next, you've seen her before at the early part of the show where we did improv, and we're fucking great at it. Ladies and gentlemen, she's on Lady to Lady. She has a show called Picture This that's so good, I can't even get booked on it. Put your hands together for Brandie Posey.
Sam, if you're watching, if my booker is watching, book Brock on that show, will you? Hey, guys, this is what it feels like to do comedy in the zombie apocalypse. That's what this room feels like every time I hear it. It just feels like comedy still needed to happen when the zombies came, and we found one place, and we're like, let's just take a corner of a bunker. We don't have any food, and the undead are outside crawling their way in. But God damn it, we're gonna have a laugh, you guys. It's gonna happen. So just like feel that fear behind you during my set. That's what I want to happen. Just the darkness is just the undead coming towards you. It's a bummer. I like to think about death a lot. I read an article recently. We're all going to die sometime soon, you guys. They found a great white shark. Somebody applauding their own imminent demise. Is that what just happened? In the darkness. It's one of the zombies. It's just like, you're right. I can't wait till I'm gone. A zombie audience would be fun, right? If you just had them chained in their chairs, they'd like be making some noise at you. Except like the zombie bachelorette party in the corner is still the loudest thing in the room. I'll never get married now. I ate my husband. Wah, wah. That's the worst sitcom that's ever been made. Zombie fiance. Oh man, I read this article where they found a great white shark off the coast of Australia that had been bitten in half by another great white shark. The perpetrator shark, perp shark, was estimated at being like 37 feet long. Think about how big 37 feet is, you guys. That's the largest shark in recorded existence since the prehistoric days. And that means they're getting bigger, you know what I mean? Like, it's only a matter of time before they come on land like we did, because that's how evolution works, and it's a bitch, you guys. It sucks. I've never been happier to, like, not be a Highlander. Like, I know you guys think I'm immortal when you look at me, and I'm definitely happy that I'm not, because, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna outlive, like, my friends and loved ones. That's gonna happen anyway, because I don't drink or smoke. Like, I'm gonna dance on a lot of graves, mostly out of spite, but also out of like love for people to keep them alive, whatever. But I mostly like I'm happy that I'll be gone before like land sharks become a problem, because it's only a matter of time before the sharks come on land like we did. It sucks. I forget how this bit works. This is an old bit. I'm trying to remember how it goes up here. It's one of those. Yeah, but like sharks scare the shit out of me. They're like one of those things that like I hate them more than pretty much everything else in the world, because they're these weird killers of the deep, and like if they stop moving and looking for food and murder, they die. Like a shark doesn't sleep. It just moves and blinks and looks for murder. Like that's what a shark does, and it's underneath the ocean, which is 75% of the world. Terrifying. Sharks are scarier to me than zombies, because like zombies, guys, I'm going to save all of your lives right now. When they break in out of the back, all you need is a wetsuit, because human teeth can't bite through wetsuits, you guys. Yeah, I know. I'm a goddamn hero. I figured it out. It's not that hard. All you need is a wetsuit and a machete, because you don't have to reload a machete, you guys. Gonna survive up here. That's how it happens. But you know who can bite through a wetsuit? A shark that has been bitten by a zombie in the zombie apocalypse and is no longer confined to water because they are undead, y'all. It's entirely possible for like a shark to like get bitten by a zombie and then like work its way onto land and like get a hold of like a wheelbarrow or maybe a skateboard or just like a wheelchair, and you just take it to the top of a hill. You just let it go, and then it's just undead zombie shark teeth. And that's how the human race falls. You know what I mean? So we go down. Fuck diseases. Fuck the ozone disappearing or whatever else we're doing to it. Undead zombie land sharks. And it's crazy because you always hear that like if you get into a tangle with a shark, if a shark attacks you in the water, accept your death. Who the fuck are these people that are going to punch a shark in the nose? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing you always hear. Like that's where all the nerve endings are. You're supposed to punch a shark in the nose. Just accept that it's over. If a great white has you in its clutches, just like think of your life and then go. Just go. You're done. That's it. But if you are going to punch a shark, just so you guys know, you should punch them like this and not like this. Because you don't want to like old-timey gentleman duel a shark, you guys. Because they're not gentlemen. They lack the ability to grow facial hair and the bone structure to properly hold a monocle. And their like little bowlers just float away in the waves. little gentleman shark. Excuse me, would you mind if I ruined your life today? That's a gentleman shark. It's like little fin is like up in the air when it drinks your blood in a teacup. I don't know what I'm doing tonight. It's fine. How do you guys think, like, this guy felt the first time he fought this guy? Like, that's a fight that happened at some point in history, right? Like, we didn't all learn this at the same time. Like, this was a real thing. This guy shows up to, like, a boxing match, and then this dude comes out of nowhere. He's like, bam, what is that? Witchcraft? I don't know. No. It's the evolution of the punch, you guys. And, like, this plus this equals someday there's going to be another future punch. And, like, I don't know what it is because I'm a comedian and not a scientist. But I feel like it has to involve lasers, right? Because, like, the definition of futures is, like, lasers and space. So it'd be some sort of, like, space laser punch. You know what I mean? Here's the M. Night Shyamalan ding-dong twist to that joke, you guys. Future punch, actually a kick. Boom! Nobody saw that one coming, did you? It's a kick that's afraid of water, can see dead people, and has been really overrated for the last decade. The real twist to that joke is like that it turned into an M. Night Shyamalan burn at the end. Oh, man. I don't know. I'm like this weird... I'm a child of the 90s, so like that kind of is a shit that matters to me. If you understand the joke structure that I am referencing because you were raised by pop culture, because your parents are too busy trying to live some sort of Reagan-esque dream to get back against their parents who were trying to forget about Hitler and didn't understand why exactly they were called the greatest generation, and they just never cried, and then they died, and your parents still haven't gotten over it, and that's why you know the Smurfs theme song more than your own parents' wedding anniversary, you might be a millennial. I'm one of those. I'm one of those people. It's ridiculous. I don't know if you guys are like me. Like, I don't know how to do a lot of things that my parents could do when they were my age, which is a weird thing. But like, I kind of don't think that it's my fault though, because I and most of my friends were raised to believe that we were these like special snowflakes that could go be whatever we wanted to be. So then I went to college and became a film major with thousands of other people and like have the debt to prove it. And it's crazy because like then you go and you're just like, I'm just gonna do it. There's only one of me out in the world. I have all the ribbons to show for it. And then like you get out there and then you realize, holy shit, I have to pay car insurance every month. Like all of the months. I don't get summers off of car insurance. Do you guys remember Pogs? Do you remember Pogs? Do you remember like your Pogs? Do you remember your Slammer? Do you remember what your Slammer used to look like? Holy shit, I can't feel my feet. I have to go to the doctor. How much does the doctor cost? What the fuck? Do you guys remember starter jackets? Do you guys remember do you remember when you had a starter jacket and it was like the Carolina Hornets? You didn't even really like them, but it looked good and everybody had it. Oh my God, do you remember that? Like, that's why we look back to nostalgia, because like we're fucking terrified all of the time. Like that's all it is. It's just like us staving off panic attacks and just being like, life is like a hurricane. Da, da, Scrooge McDuck could do it. I can do it. Like the only utilities that I'm emotionally capable of dealing with are the ones on Batman's belt. Like that's where I'm at as a human being. But it's funny, like when we look back at like the 90s and stuff, like the one thing that we don't talk about that often is like how adorable pedophilia used to be in the 90s. Go with me. If you had a screen name in the 90s and you went into chat rooms, you were knowingly and lovingly talking to pedophiles and thought it was fucking hilarious. And I know I'm not the only person. Like that was like me and all my friends in middle school. Like Friday night for us was just like going to the ice rink, getting a pizza. Then we'd buy some Skittles, divide them up by color, pop them in the different toilets, turn them different colors. Then guess what? Then we would request Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson. And we would protest it when it came on because we were precocious children. And then we'd go home, and then we'd sign on to the Lone Wolf Tavern. And then we'd like find some weirdo and we'd cyber with him for half an hour. And then we'd be like, what's the matter with you? We're 12 years old. And then we'd high five, play light as a feather, stiff as a board. And that was Friday night and it was fucking fantastic. Some of my best memories are just like fucking with old men on the internet. It's awesome. I feel like I almost feel bad for them because I feel like there had to be some guys that like gave up. There had to be some poor perverts that gave up because they just couldn't keep up with technology, like your dad's, your parents' friends that are just like, they still have like AOL screen names, like those people. Like they're like, I don't know, I had a screen name and that worked, and then I had to get texting. I started texting these kids, and like that's weird. Why do they have cell phones? You ever see a fourth grader that has a nicer phone than you? There's nothing fucking worse than that in the world. Like, I have a job, I pay taxes. You're not allowed to have a better phone than me, asshole. Ridiculous. I feel like those poor guys are just like, I got a cell phone, and then I had to have texting, and my email's on it all the time. It's just on me all the time. I can't just leave it alone because the kids just want to talk all the time. And now I have social media, and now I have a Twitter and a Facebook. I had a MySpace, but my MySpace is gone. I put so much work into it. I learned what Shane Dawson was, because how fucking hard is it to diddle a baby these days? I don't understand. There's so much shit you have to do. Oh my God. And like, where are the kids, you guys? I was at a park recently, and I saw a kid at a park looking at pictures of a park on a fucking iPad. And I just wanted to shove him inside of a van so he lived a little bit in this world before he dies. I get really stressed out because the world is unfair. So I went to go see a masseuse the other day, and I asked her for a happy ending. And she was like, sorry, we all die alone, and then our corpses shit themselves. Thanks, guys. I'm Brandie.
Corpse shitting. Keep it going, Brandie Posey. Yeah. I had the experience recently of a kid not with a better phone than me, but a 9-year-old that had a brand new iPad. I have an iPad Generation 1. To put that in perspective, it doesn't run word processors anymore. Like, all the apps are beyond that. And he showed me that in Minecraft on his iPad, he'd built a TARDIS. And I was like, oh, cool, you put some blue blocks on it. But if you clicked on the TARDIS, you went inside and it was bigger on the inside, and he'd built a swimming pool and a library. And I don't know enough about iPads or Minecraft or architecture to pull off any of that shit. And I just got real mad instead, because that's my go-to. Gentlemen Sharks, that's going to be my new nickname for men's rights activists. That's a really cool, I hope we can all run with that. Instead of looking for sex on the AOL chat rooms of yore, me and my friends thought we were hackers from the movie Hackers, but we didn't know anything about computers, so that was kind of a dead end. So in middle school, we printed off the Anarchist Cookbook, which is a guide on how to make bombs, and I brought it to school, and Assistant Principal George Troutfetter pulled me into his office, and George Troutfetter, same height as me, but he looks kind of like a trout and with a thin little mustache, and explained to me in 8th grade that you can either be a danger boy who scares people or have girls kiss you, and that's it. Those are your two options. And I remember taking the Anarchist Cookbook and like putting it in the recycling bin like a good person, and like, all right, I'm gonna go chase that girl kiss thing. We're gonna go see what that's like for a while. If it doesn't work out, we'll come back to bombs, and that's where Gentlemen Sharks come from, I assume. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have your headliner for tonight. Are you guys stoked? More sounds for yes. You know her, you love her, she's from Lady to Lady, Tess Barker.
Keep it going for Brock, you guys knows what a TARDIS is. What the fuck is that? Oh good, the dog's awake. Hi. Oh, I love dogs. I love dogs because they get it. They live in the now. I think it's important to live in the now. I know it's cheesy and it's kind of corny, but I do believe that phrase, today is a gift. That's why you have to pretend you like it. My mom's in town right now. I just saw my mom recently. My mom's like kind of this phrase, basic bitch, my mom invented that like way before whatever YouTube star did. My mom is like the epitome of a basic bitch, very into sensible sneakers. She's basically like the Ford Focus of human beings, just like standard issue. She'll definitely get you where you're going, might break down a couple times on the way, like just classic mom. My mom's the kind of mom, like this is such a mom thing to do, but my mom's the kind of mom where like, something really crazy will be going on, and that won't bother her at all. But then she fixates on these things that don't matter at all. Like, to give you an example, last year my little sister ran away to Reno with a heroin addict named Taurus. I don't know if it's the car or the astrological sign, but does it matter? And the two of them spent the night in jail after they got into a fight in an Indian casino. My mom's take on that was, oh, great. She's going to miss her dentist appointment. That's my mom. So my mom was down, and I live in Hollywood, and we were going to see a movie at we were going like down to the main part of Hollywood. And are you guys familiar with the people that hang out outside the Chinese theater in Hollywood, the homeless people that got costumes, which is good on them. That's a way to go. I think about that a lot, like how homeless I would be, or like what kind of homeless I would be. And I think costume homeless, like that's a good route. Like that's lucrative, you're having fun, it's kind of creative. Anyway, so we were like a good mile away from where all those characters are. Like we were pretty far away from where all those characters are. But nonetheless, as we're walking through Hollywood, we roll up on this Barney, like the purple dinosaur Barney, and he's just, I can't even say he's standing. He's kind of just like, he's wearing a foam head, but I can tell that he's not all the way conscious. Like he's just kind of slumped against the crosswalk. And like this Barney, this is a busted Barney. Like the years have not been kind to this Barney. Like his tail's ripped. He's got like the look of exhaust on his like felt costume. You know, it's just this really sad Barney. And he was away from all the other animals, those are always the most dangerous ones, you know? So I'm like checking out this Barney, and I'm already kind of tripping out on him. And then I kid you not, this would only happen in Hollywood, but a windowless Chevy Astro pulls up. Two dudes get out of it, open the sliding glass door to the windowless Chevy Astro, and throw Barney into the back of the van. In the middle of the day, they just chuck Barney into the back of the van, and I just can't even. So I like look at my mom, and her mouth is like agape too, and I think like for once we're like on the same page, until after like 2 seconds of silence, and my mom goes, it's just so sad. Barney's not popular anymore. Basic. Have you guys been are y'all kind of like into what I'm into? Y'all just Googling what's wrong with you and how you're going to fix it with coconut oil? You guys know what I mean. I'm real into coconut oil. The answer to any health problem on the internet is coconut oil, if you guys didn't know. Well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes it's apple cider vinegar. But why do I even bother Googling? The entire internet is just like one magic 8-ball where the answer is always either coconut oil or apple cider vinegar. I believe in that stuff more so than regular medicine, not because I'm trying to be like some, the Stevie Nicks of healthcare or anything. I just, I was poor for a really long time, so I just didn't have health insurance for a whole decade. Just society just left me out in the cold. So, but that's my medicine now, man. Like, I have Obamacare. I don't even use it. It's horrible. I hate it so much. Like, it's the biggest shit show. I'm like such a card-carrying liberal, and I turn into like my racist grandfather every time Obamacare comes up. Like, they really shit the bed on that one, I want to like it, just like I want to like the new Britney song. I just can't right now. I can't. But they're just doing a really bad job. My health insurance company is so badly organized. They canceled my health insurance for no reason. And I called, and I was like on the phone with forever. And while I'm on the phone with a guy, this is something that someone from Anthem Blue Cross said to me with a straight face. Look, just because we get your money doesn't mean we actually use it. Just because you're talking doesn't mean you're actually saying anything. Like, what does that even mean? I don't understand what's going on at Anthem Blue Cross. Like, I can only assume that, like, I think they just must have, like, a skyscraper somewhere where there's a bunch of people in, like, business casual wear just rubbing rocks together to try to turn their computer on. Like, that's the only thing that I can get. No one knows what's going on. No one knows who works there. There doesn't appear to be any kind of note-taking going on. It's a shit show. Meanwhile, I order a pizza from Domino's, I know exactly what's going on. I know exactly what's going on. You order a pizza from Domino's, I know what time my pizza went in the oven. I know the name of the person that put it in the oven. I can send him a note of encouragement. I can tell him, good job, to the person that's making my thin crust pizza. I know who's driving it to me. I know what their ETA is. I have a very exact idea of what's going on from the conception of my pizza to the second I got Domino's coming. Like, the whole thing is very well documented. And like, I'm no logic scientist. But like, here's the thought. Why is the thing that's killing me better organized than the thing that's supposed to be keeping me alive? You know what I mean? So I won't do it. I just don't. I'm not going to wait on hold anymore. I'm not. It's like, well, I'm not going to go through that when clearly I can just microwave a sock full of rice and put that on my ear. You know. It's good to be here. It's just nice to be out. I'm going through kind of a hard time right now. I'm having an affair with my boss. Thank you. It's a secret though, because I'm self-employed. I do dumb stuff a lot though. I left my credit card at a bar recently. Anyone who drinks knows what I'm talking about. I left my credit card at a bar, which is a common mistake. I think we can all agree. And what happened was I didn't even drink that much. I only had a Coors Light at this bar. I just left my credit card there because they had like 7 whiskeys at the bar before, but like not their problem, you know. So I left my credit card there. And it was this terrible like hipster bar where like all the bartender voluntarily appeared to be wearing lederhosen. You know what I mean? Awful. So I go back the next day to get my credit card. And the bartender has these like really stupid bangs and like Frankenstein tattoos on her tits, and like I just hated her. And she hands me my credit card slip, and it's been run for $25 for a Coors Light. $25. Like, I think there's been some mistake. I got a Coors Light. She goes, yeah, well, you know, we have a $20 minimum, and then tip. So this girl charged me $20 for 1 Coors Light and then tipped her hipster ass $5 for that? Like $5 for a $20 Coors Light? I'm not made of Coors Lights, people. You know what I mean? And so I get into it. I'm like, you can't do that. I was gonna close out my tab in cash, which is nonsense. All the whiskey before, who knows? But like, you can't do that. And she goes, that's our policy. I don't know what to tell you. And so then I get real uppity, and I like pull out my white girl blow on the Nintendo game trick. You know, I'm like, all right, that's fine, Can I talk to your manager, please? To your manager. And like, I don't know why I always think that's gonna solve every problem. Like, who taught us that talking to the manager was a good idea? The manager is just more in charge. Like, they're just a bigger dick, you know? And this manager certainly was. He came out, I get into it with him, we have a back and forth, he's still not budging, and like 5 minutes into this conversation, he goes, I don't know what to tell you, we have a minimum, you left your card here. And I go, look, I get real uppity, I'm like, I have left my credit card at a lot of bars, okay? And they don't all do this, okay? And he goes, that's it? I can't. I go, yeah, that's fine. I clearly like to drink. I live up the street. You just lost a really good customer, and I will be yelping about this. And so I'm real proud of myself, like bringing up Yelp, and I go like skipping off to my car, and like I don't even care that I've been charged $25 because I'm about to become like the Norma Ray of alcoholics, you know? I'm like composing the review in my head, and I'm real excited about it. Then I get to my car to drive home and write this amazing Yelp review. I can't get in the door because I've left my keys inside at the bar. So I had to go back inside to that same bar. I walk into the bar. The girl with the bangs and the Frankenstein tattoos is standing there dangling my keys, dangling them. Like we're at the fucking OK Corral or some shit, right? And like she was already dangling them when I walked into the bar, which means that like there was a good at least minute where old girl was standing there maniacally staring at a wall and dangling the keys. Okay, so I walk in, she goes, you want your keys back? Sign the credit card slip. I go, okay, that's fine. Give me a credit card slip. So I take the credit card slip and I just write in big, like, psychopathic letters, I do not approve of these charges. Give it back to her. Go home. I fucking wrote a Yelp review. 4 people have found it helpful. Called Bank of America, got the charges reversed, so I paid nothing for that beer. Thank you. Because, like, here's the thing, like, I'm sorry, honey, I have fallen asleep at the gate of the plane I was supposed to be on. You know, like, this isn't my first rodeo. You know, if you don't think I'm used to fucking up and then bitching until it becomes someone else's problem, you have another thing coming, okay? You can't fuck with someone who is constantly fucking with themselves. It's just true. It's probably a good time to ask you guys this. How does anyone do anything? You know what I mean? Like, I do nothing. And I can't even kind of handle that. Like, I don't even kind of have nothing on lock. Like, I've been trying to return the same eyeshadow for like 6 months now. I've had this eyeshadow that, like, I've been trying to return. It's a stupid color. I was on, like, Coffee Bean and Weed when I bought it. It was like $40. Like, I can't keep this stupid eyeshadow. So it's been in my bathroom in a Sephora bag with a receipt in it, just gathering dust. Like, it's become part of my bathroom collection, just this eyeshadow I need to return. Gotta return it. I can't keep $40 eyeshadow that I can't use. But, like, I also can't return it, because, like, if I return it, that means I gotta, like, go drive to the mall, park, go up an escalator, explain to the girl why I'm returning it, sign some shit, go back down. Let's be honest, forget where I parked. You know, like, I don't have all morning to return eyeshadow. Like, if I got shit not to do. You know, like, if I'm gonna return that eyeshadow, why don't I get cracking on all the envelopes I have gathered all around my apartment? Just all this stuff that's, like, too important to throw away, but too meaningless to open for 2 years. Why don't I get into that, you know? Why don't I get into my laundry, the bottom half of my laundry, which is just laundry purgatory, which is just all these clothes that, like, I don't even care enough about to wash, but I can't give them away because I might need them someday. You know, they become this, like, coagulated lump. Only the top part of my laundry is even in play at all. Like, the bottom part has moved with me to multiple apartments. Like, I have this cube of laundry that I've changed locations with, just this no man's land laundry. And that's the problem. Like, I look around and it's like, I have laundry to do and mail to open, and I'm supposed to, like, I don't know, do my taxes and fix my credit and Google what Benghazi was, you know, and, like, return the eyeshadow. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, I can't do anything because I always have to do everything, you know? So instead, I just sit around my apartment just stoned and crippled with anxiety. I'm like a fucking pantsless Hamlet, so. Thank you. Got some free stuff with my boobs the other day. Thank you. I'm not, revealing any secrets of the universe here. If you have boobs, occasionally you get free stuff. Without trying. I mean, if you're trying, you can get a house or something. But just by incidentally having these fat sacks right below your face, sometimes people just give you stuff. I don't know. It's not big deal stuff usually. It's like, I don't know, you're like $1 short to get out of the parking garage and it's all good. You know, I don't know, they're cool though. But, so I was at a bar and the bartender hooked me up with a free beer. And the guy friend that I was with was like, must be nice. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's cool. Like, it is. Yeah, free anything is cool, of course. But, like, having boobs, like the free stuff you get with boobs, it's kind of like having one of those frozen yogurt punch cards, you know, where the 11th thing you get is free. And it's all like frozen yogurt level of shit, you know, it's all beers and stuff like that. But the 11th things you have to do to get that free thing, those are all like when I'm on a run and I get stopped at an intersection And I want to keep my heart rate up, so I keep jogging in place. And while I'm jogging in place, just like rocking out to my Katy Perry, a gentleman rolls up and thinks, you know what? Wow, yeah, this is broad daylight, middle of a big city where lots of people can see me, busy intersection. I think the best thing to do right now, clearly, is just to make the eating pussy face at the stranger. I think that's clearly what the situation calls for, And so then the stranger just decides, just to bust out unsolicited, just one of these, just the. Which, is there a more unattractive gesture you could ever make than this moist serpentine? It looks like whack-a-moles coming out of your face, just. Which, by the way, if this is how you're eating pussy, stop eating pussy. Stop eating pussy. You're not even advertising your services well. And so then there he goes, just going for it. And I finally see him, but I want to keep running because it's my sidewalk too, and I don't even want to acknowledge that he's there. But it's clear that as I'm running, I'm definitely jostling my boobs in the eating pussy face. That's definitely, undeniably what's happening. So I'm just stuck there in this Katy Perry soundtrack, just moral quandary, not knowing what to do with my boobs and the eating pussy face. And so for every 11 of those, you get a free beer. All right, I think that's my time. I got the light. I'm Tess. You guys are cool.
Tess Barker, ladies and gentlemen, keep it going. I've never been happier for a show to be over because you guys did the weirdest crowd turnaround of all time. Tess asked if anyone here has ever left a credit card at a bar, and there was less reaction than when Brendan said, "You know how hard it is to strangle a man?" More of you. So we have to go now. Please put your hands together for the DromeBox for having us here. Keep it going for the comedians you saw tonight. Brandie Posey, Brendan Mcgowan, Tess Barker. I've been Brock Wilbur. Thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you at home for keeping your pants on, I hope. Thanks, bye.